sparse.
Merry Christmas! It's the FCS CheckDown and a full crew. Let's go! Brandon Joseph, Coach Ron Jackson, Nathan McCreary, and Merry Christmas, everybody. It is Christmas week. More importantly, it is the FCS CheckDown, talking about the FCS semifinals, and now the finals are set. Let's get our introductions out of the way. Chat, I see you in the house. Very, very great to see you. You guys put me and Coach Ron in the mud. We both picked Montana and Villanova to win. Brandon did a little bit better, but chat, you nailed it. Brandon, how the heck are you? I know you had a Christmas party earlier. What's your intoxication level?
Oh, no, I'm perfectly fine. It was just a Rasmussen trolley. We were around neighborhoods looking at lights.
Oh, come on. I was expecting a little something.
Gated communities and, things like that. Places I don't get to hang out much in.
So you got the chance to be with the kiddos tonight, and how was this weekend?
Oh, it was good. It was a recovery from last week. Was very busy last week, so was able to catch up on a lot of things. I mean, Thursday was a lost day for me, so by the time Friday rolled around, I was able to catch some college football playoff and also be able to lock in on the two semifinal games on Saturday.
Nicely done. We got some. It looks like some. Some little digging in the chat here. Coach Jackson, I know you had a good weekend, a good chill weekend, and had some guests, but how the heck are you?
Man, I had a great weekend. I had a great time, and I'm doing fine. Anytime the good Lord sees fit to wake me up, I'm in high cotton. So
yeah,
spent the day. I think I found my Christmas present that my daughter.
That was hilarious.
Dude, she is so pitiful.
She hid.
Go
ahead, what you tell.
Lamest Santa. She's gonna be the lamest Santa Claus ever. She literally hid our damn Christmas gift up under the kitchen table.
Yeah, I saw it, and it's not even covered with anything.
In plain sight, yeah.
Yeah.
Just and listen, she's been walking all back and forth all day, just acting like nothing. I mean.
Yeah.
Like we don't see that, man.
Yeah. Hey, keep your eyes up here, buddy. Don't be looking underneath the table. Stephen Vitt in the house. Good to see you, man. Yeah, the Ohio Bobcats fans really love the FCS semi. It was good. It's better than some of those FBS finals, that's for certain. Let's get into the chat. Yeah, Steve McKenzie's in the house. New Age is in the house. Mr. Gale, R.R. Gale, 55's in the house. Great to see you. Chris Monstrangelo, hey, guys. Merry Christmas to you, Chris, in the house as well. Kobe, congratulations. Yeah, I thought about Kobe all game long. I was like, this is he's going to be really, really happy or really, really sad. So great job. The chat definitely can pick them, no doubt about it. All right, well, let's delay no further as we can get into these games and review. The first game we're going to talk about is this game right here as I remove Steve McKenzie. Illinois State and Villanova. Not much of a game, gentlemen. This was a game that I really thought Villanova had the home field advantage. We talked to Coach Ferrante during the middle of the week, building that culture, talked about the senior leadership, Shane Hartzell, he protect the brand, all that stuff, man. I came out of there real fired up, and Illinois State's the one who was fired up, Brandon Joseph. They came out and put 21 points up in the first half, up 21-6, never looked back. This was a big-time punch in the face to Villanova for Illinois State, showing that they belong as an unranked, unseeded team here in the FCS.
Yeah, I think, Villanova, they had to know the game plan going in. Illinois State is a team that they can get up early, kind of punch you in the mouth, and that's rule number one of what you have to defend. That's what they weren't able to defend. The games that Illinois State lost. It was, the North Dakota State game. You weren't going to get up big. Southern Illinois couldn't score at all. The Youngstown State game was the only one where they showed some promise, but that was late in the first half. So, the MO is already written. These teams are who they are, and barring some catastrophic change, I'm talking about like a coach or a player sitting out, opting out, or injured, the game plan's already written come game 16 for a lot of these teams. So for Villanova, I'm shocked that they did not, come in with some different philosophy as if, hey, the first two drives, we're going full on clock management no matter what. We're going to tempo this game, slow it down, make Illinois State kind of answer to our tempo of the game and force them to, hey, if they want to come out, jump out early and get 3 and out, well, their defense is right back on the field and things like that. So I think for Villanova, that's where they failed in the operational error. They got the ball first, and they only were able to take 2 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock. You take 2 minutes off the clock in a 3 and out if you run the play clock down a good chunk. So I think for Villanova, it was operational failure. And they wanted to come out and try to match Illinois State, like going, hey, we can match this tempo, we can match this energy. And they did it for 2 possessions. They threw the interception and then the touchdown. It was Redbirds boat race.
Yeah. And Coach Jackson, one thing that because of the talent, Tommy Rittenhouse, we talked about his name, the running backs there at Illinois State, and Sakowitz, the wide receiver, pretty balanced. And I thought, okay, if they could be a balanced offense, that's going to benefit them. They were balanced, Coach. They had 10 rushing first downs, 12 passing first downs, and they got 4 first downs by penalty. So what Villanova's coach Ferrante said is, we can't give up first down penalties. Well, they did, and that's a recipe for disaster for the Wildcats.
Yeah, well, I thought, to Illinois State's credit, they threw the ball for 250 yards. They rushed for 175 yards. I thought Illinois State, I thought Villanova struggled with Illinois State's size.
Yeah.
They really hurt them up front on offense and on defense, and defense especially because I think they were 1 for 10 on third down conversion. So it was really just just complete domination. Now, I'll say this: we got to comment on that the Villanova fans let them down. It looked from where I was watching, decent crowd. 4,000 or 5,000 people showed up, but I don't think the stadium holds more than about 4,000 or 5,000 either. So it looked good. Stadium looked better than the team did.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's dive just a little bit deeper on this. We talked about the first downs, 26 first downs for Illinois State to 15 for Villanova. Those 4 penalties leading to first downs. Total offensive yards, 426 to 300. Illinois State had the advantage. And plays, get this, Brandon, 81 plays for Illinois State to 54 plays for Villanova. That's a plus 27. And that, to me, I don't know how you win a game when you've got a plus 27 disadvantage on offense.
You don't. That's exactly what you see. You don't win those games.
Nice.
A 19-minute time of possession swing in there too. 19 minutes is insane. Yes. That's almost like one team runs the option. That's old school, like Navy, Paul Johnson in that Emerald Bowl in San Francisco when they kept the ball for 16 minutes on a drive to melt out a game. That's how insane that time of possession difference is. And you're talking about, the play number and the possession. That's full drives. And for Villanova, that's how quickly, and this goes back to being punched in the mouth by Illinois State, they're forced early to play catch up. Before half, they're going, okay, we need to get points here. We need to get points here or else this game can get out of hand. And they didn't get points, and then game got out of hand.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people talking about how Illinois State should have been ranked. Yeah, they probably should have been ranked. This was a team playing very good football late, and they had a loss to Southern Illinois. Conversely, you had a team like South Dakota State that was playing horrible football at the end of the year, and everybody went, hey, we're going to make them a 14 seed in there and look past their 4 consecutive losses. This is, again, these are the examples of bad seeding. They had to see the bracket already predetermined, and it was just slotting teams in there. And Illinois State, they were disrespected, and they play like they're disrespected. Another thing that really did stand out for me is just the ease. It just looked like they were, I don't know, like they were playing a scrimmage at times. They went out there, and you take a look at effort exerted. We could point out to the college football playoff game. Miami had to exert a lot of effort to get past Texas A&M.
Right.
Alabama had to put forth a lot of effort to get past Oklahoma. Oregon did not. Ole Miss did not. Illinois State did not have to put past any effort to get past Villanova. In the other game, it had its ebbs and flows, but I know it's a pretty big layoff for both those teams. But if you're Illinois State, you come in healthy, rested, and basically just ran ones versus twos for 4 quarters in a semifinal game.
Yeah. And then you look at the penalties were a problem. Villanova, 6 penalties for 46 yards in critical times. Of course, those first downs, as I mentioned, 1 for 10 on third downs for Villanova's offense. Illinois State, 11 for 20. Okay.
Yeah.
50+%, you'll take that. And then here's my question, and this is kind of to both of you. We'll start with Coach Jackson. In the red zone, 5 times for Illinois State. Only 2 touchdowns. Can't do that against Montana State. What are your thoughts for Coach Spack going in? What he knows he's facing in the red zone, you got to score touchdowns. Am I wrong there, Coach?
No, you're absolutely right. And, still they put 30 points up on the board. I'm going to speak more to what Brandon was saying just a second ago about how Illinois State dominated. If you look at the rushing attempts, I think Illinois State ran the ball 43 times.
Yeah.
Where Villanova only runs it about 24 times. That's where your time of possession difference is. And literally, the big running back that Illinois State's got, he's 6'1", 6'2", probably 210, 215 pounds. He's just barreling down. So I don't know that they'll have the same problems in the red zone in the championship game. Now, don't get me wrong, Montana State will have something to do with that too. Yeah. But
a little more resistance.
Yeah, I don't know. Illinois State is built to be good in the red zone. I'd have to look at what they've done, throughout the year, but they're built to be good in the red zone.
And to Coach's point, this will be a totally different makeup. The championship game, neutral field. You'll have half your fans there in the stadium as well. It'll be a huge number, huge crowd. There will be a little bit more influence. There will be a lot of different variables at play. The thing that I take away for Illinois State is dominating win, but it's still a very teachable game. The red zone number. Rittenhouse didn't play a great game. Like, they scored 30 and walked to victory, and really it was on the backs of the defense. The offense did its job early, and the defense just made it really tough for Villanova to do anything to get back in the ball game. I mean, Rittenhouse, 18 of 38, that's not great. That's not national championship winning numbers there for Tommy Rittenhouse, and we know how good this Illinois State offense can be. So I think there is juice left in the squeeze if you're Illinois State over this week plus 2 weeks to get into the national championship game. But yeah, you go in there knowing, hey, every possession's got it, in with a kick for sure, but we got to get in the end zone. We cannot be in. I think a lot of it is introspective too there. I don't know if these coaches made some decisions to, hey, let's not show everything we got here. Let's just run it, see if we can get it in, and try to dominate that way and have some wrinkles, because they're going to need some wrinkles in there. But I still think, there was a lot in this quote-unquote dominating victory, but a lot that could be teachable.
Well, these individual stats you mentioned, Brandon, Tommy Rittenhouse, 18 for 38, did have 2 touchdowns and an interception for 251 yards. He's only sacked 1 time. Victor Dawson was fantastic. 34 carries, 158 yards. He netted 155. He did score a touchdown, averaged 4.6 yards per carry. Outstanding. And then Daniel Sopkowitz, the wide receiver, fantastic. 7 receptions, 2 touchdowns for that young man. This might be a Daniel Sopkowitz versus Taco Dowler type national championship, because both of them have premier level wide receivers, and that's a huge drop off for their second tier wide receivers. So we shall see how that goes for that team for Illinois State there in the playoffs. But it is Illinois State 30-14. Brandon, you got any final thoughts on this before we move to the super brawl or the brawl for the bracket or whatever?
No, I think this is, and the numbers will come out of both of these games coming up in the next couple of days, probably be delayed due to the Christmas holiday. But even going back to the quarterfinals, people love good football. And this was a great game. Even though the score in the game was never in doubt, it was still it was better than James Madison and Tulane playing. And I'll be honest about that. It was more engaging there to watch. And I think the number will reflect that as well, even though it was up against an NFL game. I think the number will be highly respectable. So I just want to, point out for this game and even the Montana State game that was going to draw interest. I think a lot of people talked over or around this game. Um, Very respectable number. I think will come out given what it was up against and given the numbers in the quarterfinal as well. This is the FCS playoff is not beholden on the Bison or the Bunny Rabbits to be a spectacle or good watch. And I think we're seeing that now. Highest numbers so far throughout the network televised games in the playoffs.
Yeah, Kobe, winter is here. Bobcats find another level. Yeah, I don't know that they need another level, but we'll see how it goes. Coach Jackson, just final thoughts to wrap up Villanova and Illinois State.
Really the first thought that comes to my mind is woe is University of North Alabama. They took Illinois State to 2 overtimes and didn't hardly win but 2 games the whole season. So that kind of tells you what different matchups and things like that go around. I think Illinois State's got a good team.
Yeah, I would too.
I think they're huge on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Their tight end play is really good. So the Sopkowicz kid, he's fantastic. I thought the Rittenhouse kid played within the ball game. Remember, I said I thought if he come out and tried to win it himself, probably wouldn't do all that well. Well, he didn't, and he managed the game pretty well. So I understand that the Bobcats might be celebrating a little bit early. They might be on that eggnog already, but I think Illinois State, they're a formidable team. Cinderella still got that slipper on.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, about 12,500 seats there at Villanova Wildcat Stadium. So less than half full. You'd like to see the fans show up. We understand it's cold. We understand but no, come on. This is why the FCS is criticized, because the fan support, they're watching other things. And we saw it at Kennesaw State, me and Brandon, when you're up against even Georgia playing a cupcake a non-conference opponent. People are watching that versus an FCS game.
The thing that has to be pointed out: who's playing Saturday at 5:00? The Eagles. The Eagles and the Commanders were playing.
Yep, that's
and
right.
The Eagles needed to win that game to basically assure themselves a spot in the playoffs. So I think there's other factors involved as well. That game could have been probably benefited by moving to Friday, even though there was a better college football playoff game on, and ESPN had every network covering the game in some way, shape, or form. They had the toilet pass or something like that on one of the networks. But, I mean, the schedule does not help a lot of these teams. And that's something that, again, if you can't advocate for that at a conference level, I don't know how it's ever going to get fixed.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. All right, well, the game I think we all kind of were thinking about, okay, this is the game we want to watch. This is the game that we're going to be tuned into, and it was a very, very good game for 3 quarters. Montana State, whatever you want to call it, the Super Brawl, or the Brawl for the Bracket, or whatever you want to call it. This was a one heck of a game, a record atmosphere in attendance, over 24,000 in attendance there at Bobcat Stadium and Bozeman, and it was a fantastic. I mean, you could feel the energy coming off this one. 13-0 lead for Montana State early, and then here come the Grizz fighting back. Kelly Ayotte really put the team on his back, and Eli Gilman had some good runs, and then it was a 23-20 lead in the third quarter for Montana over Montana State, and you could see the stadium in absolute shock. And here come the Bobcats. 28 unanswered points in the to end the game, 7 in the third and 21 in the fourth, 48-23. Wow. I mean, this one was a fantastic game to watch. I mean, it really, really was. And I thought it lived up to the billing, Coach Jackson. This is what people wanted to see, and they got a great show.
Well, it looked great. The stadium was packed. The atmosphere was just, I mean, dude, it's rolling down there. They got what are the In-N-Out fries called? Animal style fries.
Style, yeah.
It was animal style support at Montana State Saturday. And listen, they got a great team too. The Dowler kids that play on, one's on offense, one is on defense. The kid that's on defense, dude, he's had an interception just about every game that he's ever played.
He got nicked up and missed most of that game, unfortunately.
Yeah, Yeah, but still, their defense. Montana State gets off to a good start, and literally they just came out and shocked Montana is what it looked like, because they're fairly evenly matched across the line of scrimmage,
Yeah.
speed wise, but they got shocked. I think I underestimated a little bit what a home field advantage that Montana State would have. And literally in the middle eight, I thought Montana did a good job in the middle eight, and they came back, but it just took a little too much out of them. And literally the fourth quarter's a wash. You cannot, you have to knock the champ out. You cannot go down 21 points and then have to come back and then expect to hold on in the fourth quarter.
Brandon, we see, you mentioned it versus Illinois State and Villanova. We see again, Montana gets the ball first. Penalties, they go 3 and out essentially, and you can't be on a drive and get 5-10 yard penalty on second and third down and expect that you can kind of overcome that consistently. And it seemed like Montana had some bad penalties there early, especially early in this contest, that kind of got them not in a rhythm.
Yeah, you can't be negative. I mean, any coach will tell you that. You can't be negative to start drives in the middle of drives. You can't make a 3rd and 1, a 3rd and 6. You can't make a 2nd and 8, a 2nd and 13. Those are drive killers. Even the smallest penalties, let alone, a 10-yard penalty that brings a run back, for the multitude of that. The small things are drive killers. And I saw Stephen McKenzie's comment that you put on screen there. I mean, you can't be in control of the whole game when at some point in the fourth quarter you're losing the game.
Yeah.
But I get the feeling that he was alluding to. It just felt like Montana State was always going to win this game. And I think that's the point that he was really getting to. The feeling was, okay, Montana State's going to win this game, mainly because, and if you have children, cover your ears. Montana blew their load. There's no other way to do it. They had to come back in this game, and that's essentially what happened in the second and third quarter. Now, that's not good if you're Montana State, allowing a team back in. You had a chance to put this game over by halftime, and then you were trailing in with a possession into the fourth quarter. That's not in the third quarter. That's not a good feeling if you are the Bobcats. Against a team like Illinois State, if Illinois State plays their best game and you play a replica of what you did against Montana, you may not be coming back in the game. Now, what you have to do is do exactly what you did to start Montana. You came out there and you punched them in the face and you said, okay, you're going to have to try to come out here and take this from us on back-to-back touchdown plays. And then you saw Montana kind of settle into their groove. I can't say, and I know, Montana State has won this game twice this year. What was the margin in the first game? Let me pull up the margin in that first game. It was 3 points.
Yeah.
The final score was not indicative of the way Montana came back in the game. You're happy if you're Montana State that you've won the 2 matchups, because if there was a third, I think Montana goes 1-2 against Montana State. I don't think you beat them square away 3 times in a season. But for what Montana State was able to do, rally late, and credit to them late. I mean, for all the criticism I gave them in the second and third quarter, and Coach Jackson was right on point about the middle eight. They got dominated in the middle eight by Montana. Credit to them in the fourth quarter. They saw an opportunity where Montana was making a move to come back in the game, and they put their foot on their throat and said, we're not letting this happen. We're not fooling around, because they knew when they were up 27-23 that if Montana got up 30-27, totally different ball game. I would even say if Montana got a field goal and this game was 27-26, Montana knew, hey, we can get one more stop, we can get a field goal and essentially in the game and try to win it 29-27. So what did Montana State do? They took the ball, went 90 yards and 240. And they sealed the game. So that's where the biggest credit comes in, where you did not play well for the second quarter and most of the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, you figured out that opportunity. You seized that one moment in there, and you put the game away. So I think there's a lot of concern for Montana State to make sure they don't replicate those middle 2 quarters, but the way they started, the way they ended that game was phenomenal. I think they're going to have to trust their quarterback to push the ball down the field a little bit. 13-19, I know we'll get in the stats, 209, good. But a lot of it were crossing routes, and they were able to pick up yards after catch that made the yards per attempt or the yards per completion look really good. I think you have to trust them to push the ball in the air a little bit more. especially because of that Illinois State line. And we'll talk probably a little bit more about the matchup between these two teams. But, there is room to get better if you're the Bobcats.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go over the stats. And Coach, do you have anything to say to add to that?
Well, I'm gonna kind of make Brandon's point. When Montana State decided to put things away, they started running the ball. So
Right.
They ran the ball 44 times for 240 yards. They held Montana to under 100 yards. Montana only ran the ball 22, 23 times. Literally, when you're punching somebody in the mouth, I mean, the running back that they've got, I can't think of his name right now, but he played a fantastic ball game.
Talking about Dowler?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about Eli Gilman for Dowler, yeah.
Yeah, Dowler.
I'm sorry, Adam Jones for Montana State and Julius Davis. Yeah.
Adam Jones, that's who I'm talking about. So I'm not so sure that Illinois State and Montana State, it's not going to be an old 70s type ball game where the two teams just, line up and try and run it at each other and, kind of see who's bigger and better. I put it that way.
Yeah, and I think that is the R.R. Gale 55 said about Montana State's depth. Absolutely at running back, you've got, Justin Lambskin can run. He had 10 rushes for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. Adam Jones, 2 touchdowns, 136 yards on 16 carries. Julius Davis, 14 carries, 57 yards, 50. I mean, he was just there. He was to give Adam Jones a little breather, but he also is a talented young man as well. It was just Eli Gilman for Montana, and he had to carry the rock 16 times, and then it was really nobody else. They got behind, so they had to throw a lot more. And one thing that I thought I would just mention is I'm seeing a couple times a game wide receivers stopping their route, and it happened on the interception. I think Coach, you and I were texting. A wide receiver stops his route and an interception is thrown because the pressure that the defense is putting on. The wide receivers have to be careful, have to be almost predicting that their quarterback is going to tuck it and run. And so now they are going to become a blocker or something. And I think that throws everything off. And I saw Montana State do that and I think put good pressure on Kelly Ayotte. I thought it was super, super effective. But these wide receivers, it's a tough gig back there, and you got to finish your route though, and because that causes some mayhem. But go ahead, Coach, and let you finish.
Well, no, that's literally it. I think, again, I would consider Montana State more of a passing team, but I don't believe they are. I believe they're a little bit more of a running team. They look good up front. Defensively, they look, pretty good. They're tough out. I'm only interested. I'll be interested in the championship game. First of all, whoever wins the toss, what are they going to do? Are they going to defer? If I'm a running team, I'm probably I'm probably deferring. I think both teams that won the toss this past Saturday took the ball, but I'm probably deferring to the second half. Literally, with the defenses that both these teams have, you might be able to double up. I don't think the game's going to get too terribly far out of hand, but I mean, we'll see. It just depends on who's got the better offensive line.
Team statistics, it was very lopsided for rushing yards. 240 rushing yards for Montana State, 96 for Montana. Montana State was rushing 5.5 yards per carry. Unbelievable. Yards gained, 255. Oh, yeah, I talked about completions. Brandon mentioned just 13 for 19 there for Lampson. Didn't have to throw the ball. They got ahead early. They were able to run at Jones and Davis. Go ahead, Brandon. Oh, would you say something?
No.
Oh, I thought you raised your hand. 449 total yards of offense for Montana State, 347 for Montana. Okay, Coach, if I had to ask you, Coach Jackson, championship football, how many yards per carry are you getting per offensive play?
How many yards am I getting?
Yeah, if you had to say per play at the end of the game, what would you say championship football, what does that look like? 3 yards play, 5 yards of play?
I would say championship football is going to be somewhere between 5, 6, 7. I'd say
Yeah.
probably 6, 7 yards of play.
Yeah, 7.1 yards per play was Montana State. 7.1 yards per play to, by the way, 5.2 yards per play for Montana. So, but 7.1 yards per play, that is a machine moving down the field. And then you had just one. Gosh, where am I looking at? I'm looking at the penalties. 6 penalties per team, 45 yards for Montana State, 65 yards for Montana. And then on third down, 7 for 14 for Montana, 10 for 14 for Montana State. In the red zone, 4 for 4 touchdowns for Montana State. That is getting it done. And then you look at the individual statistics. Justin Lamson, 13 for 19, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very efficient. Adam Jones, 136 yards. Julius Davis, 57 yards. Justin Lamson had 50 yards rushing the ball as well. Taco Deller had 1 rush for 4 yards, and his receiving yards, 5 receptions, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. And Rocky Lencioni, who I love that freaking name, had a pair of catches with 36 yards and a touchdown as well. Taco Dowler had 4 punt returns for 51 total yards. A 17-yarder was his long, and there you go. So, for Montana, Kelly Ayotte, 27 for 42, 251 yards. He had an interception. He also had a touchdown. He was sacked 3 times by this Montana State offense. Eli Gilman, 16 for 16 carries, 107 yards for a touchdown. And Michael Wortham, 8 receptions for 85 yards, but he got nicked up late and could not be in the game. Blake Bohannon, our friend Coach Brian Bohannon's son, was second on the team with 5 receptions and 52 yards. A lot of those were kind of mop up there in the late in the game. So it is set. It is Illinois State and Montana State coming to Nashville. Let's put this graphic up here. It's going to be, not that one. Hang on. It's going to be a good one. Montana State, Illinois State, FCS National Championship, January 5th. Make sure you tune in. What we think we're going to do on this one, Brandon, as Coach and I were talking, is we're probably going to do a show dedicated to Montana State, bring in some fans, maybe ask Coach Vegan to come back on the show, and then we'll do an Illinois State show where we have some fans and see if Brock's back or player or coach or somebody wants to come on the show. Have we had Brock's back on the show? It seems like we have, but I'm not 100% certain.
Maybe like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so that's the plan. I guess I can pop our faces back up in here. That's the plan for the off weeks, January 5th. We're going to celebrate Christmas. We're going to celebrate the New Year, and we'll put our schedule up there on X and let everybody know where the show is. By the way, you guys continue to be amazing. We had over 700 plus views on the last video, Coach, with the interview with Coach Ferrante. I mean,
yeah, dude, that's amazing, and just shout out to our fans and people that watch the show and plug the show and whatnot, because we've grown at an astronomical rate. It's been a blessing to talk FCS football every week.
Yeah, and it's great, and it's a great brand. It's a great brand of football. Brandon, I think if you're going to look at this Montana State, Illinois State, you can't get caught up in the hype that Montana State. By the way, they're the only team to win a division, a championship at the Division 3, 2, and Division 1 level, if I'm not mistaken. I saw that statistic somewhere. You can't get caught up in the hype that all the Montana schools. I think this Illinois State team is very, very, very good and probably very dangerous. They knocked off NDSU, and I think that's probably going to keep Montana State's attention focused on the Redbirds.
Yeah, if I would have told you this was, North Dakota State, everybody would say, "Oh, North Dakota State's going to win this game because because the Missouri Valley Football Conference is so tough." If I were told you this was South Dakota State, they'd be like, "Oh, the MVFC so tough. South Dakota State has to be the favorite in this game." You take those 2 teams away, and all of a sudden, Illinois State has no shot in this. They went through the same quote unquote gauntlet that everybody else did. You would have automatically plugged and played and put in there into that title game against Montana State and said Montana State had no shot. So I think Illinois State has a legitimate shot in this game. They are tested. They are a very dynamic football team. With that said, I mean, Coach, you kind of alluded to it. I think this game is going to be a game within 3 yards of the football either way. It's going to be a trench battle. Who can keep their quarterback at least well protected, because Illinois State is going to want to bring the pressure right up the middle and funnel Lamson into edge containment. I think for Montana State, they want to break down that pocket. They want to give Rittenhouse no time to push the ball down the field. They will take him throwing the ball 3 yards or on a screen or a quick wheel and trust those guys to tackle in space. They do not want this to be a battle of number one receivers on the outside, because I think both teams will agree, hey, our number one receiver can beat a corner, especially if it's 3rd and 3 on a slant up the middle, on a double move or something like that, and get something. So, I mean, I think that I'm very interested to see how this game plays out, and we'll be able to tell within the first 5 minutes of the game. But I don't subscribe to the belief that Illinois State has no shot just because they're not one of the top 2 from the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Because you know what? If they were the top 2 in there, or the top 2 wanted to be there, guess what? Win your football games, and you could have been there.
Yeah. Coach Jackson, one thing I do want to mention before we roll out of here, and thank you everyone still in the in the chat, very, very active. Love it. Make sure you tell people that, hey, this is a show dedicated to the athletes and the staff, the coaches of the FCS and the fans of the FCS. But Coach, before we get out of here, senior laden team for Illinois State. Senior laden team. You also have like a Tommy Rittenhouse who's got an extra year of eligibility. Is he looking in the transfer portal already, focused, locked in, all kind of things, environmental stuff that can have an impact. But this is a senior-laden team versus a very young Montana State team, which, and I think you said before the show, Montana State might be better next year than this year because of the experience that they've gained this year. And now, granted, you've got a full year behind on some of those freshmen that are in the secondary for Montana State. How does the experience level and the maturity of some of these players that have been around for a while, like Tommy Rittenhouse, come into play in a game like a national championship game?
Well, I think their senior level experience has served them well, because more to Brandon's point, I think it's a little more impressive that Illinois State's made it here, because basically every game they've won's been on the road. Montana State's been at home for a couple of rounds. Now, don't get me wrong, Montana State plays like they've got some seniors, but they've got some talent too. But I think Illinois State is going to play like a senior laden team normally does play. They don't make a lot of excuses. They don't get off the bus. I think that I'm like Brandon. I don't think it's going to be an easy go. I think Montana State might be a little bit deeper than Illinois State is, but I mean, you really don't need a whole lot of depth across the offensive line. I think quarterback's probably about even. I think now I know Montana State can run 2 or 3 different running backs at you, but the running back that Illinois State's got, he's a handful. Yeah. So I think that they come in that. I don't think they'll be intimidated before the ball game starts. I don't think that they'll be, and a lot of those guys will be playing in their last football game, so that'll count for a few points too. There won't be much of a home field advantage for Montana State. I mean, unless everybody from Montana shows up in Nashville, which if they do, good for Nashville. But it'll be their first time kind of being on the road, and I'd like to see how those kids handle it too.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, and I think that as these teams prepare, I think you're going to see like some of this stuff, some of the chatter. You're going to start realizing, hey, this Illinois State teams might be better than people thought they were. They did have a couple missteps. It's a pretty good team, so we shall see. It's going to be absolutely fun to watch, and we'll see. We may have some news about where we're watching and how we can watch and maybe interact with folks. Me and Coach Jackson been throwing around some ideas, and also boiled custard is in my refrigerator right now, Coach, with some chocolate Crown Royal. Thanks to you.
Oh my God.
It is my new.
This is what y'all do when I'm not around.
It is my new
Hey.
go-to on Christmas. It is fantastic, chat. If you are in the South or you have any idea of like a Boston cream donut, the custard, this is like a drink that tastes just like that. Put a little chocolate crown in it, and it is off the chain. It is so freaking good. I'm definitely giving that a check mark, Coach. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. If you want to make it fantasticer, put it in the freezer overnight. It won't freeze up on you because of the alcohol. And man, thank me
slush.
later.
All right.
Yeah.
That is it for our show, chat. You guys have been amazing. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share the show. Brandon's not in for it, but we're all in for the national championship game, the FCS championship game coming up in Nashville, January 5th. For Brandon Joseph, I'm Nathan McCreary. For Coach Ron Jackson, we say so long from the FCS Checkdown. We'll see you soon. It is the FCS championship coming up. Let's get ready in style with some bull custard. Let's go. All right, guys, y'all have a great night. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.